Okay, all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shab, by Hashem Kudash. The honors to the eldest apostle, Great Millstone, and as well Shalom to the Akim, sincerely pushing the name of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shab. My name is Lamadia, and this is more developing news. Pretty much what's happening with the developing story of this COVID-19, and just listen.
State has released some pretty startling statistics. They say New York State has released some pretty startling statistics. They say that more than half of people who were hospitalized with COVID-19 acquired the disease while also complying with those social distancing lockdown restrictions. So emergency room doctor, chief medical officer of Remote Health Solutions, John Bowe is here, or rather Bowe, sorry, Dr. John Bowe is here with us now to talk about that. And I also want to ask you about something else, Doctor. Mayor Bill de Blasio just announced earlier this morning that antibody testing would be available to everyone in New York City who wants it for free. But as I understand it, there's a certain amount of controversy when it comes to antibody testing. There are a number of different antibodies. We really don't know what it means, really, if you show that you have the antibodies in your system other than you were exposed to the disease. So could this maybe offer a false sense of security, or, you know, maybe it's a great thing and it's part of the next step that we need when it comes to opening up the economies?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. You know, there's a couple of great questions that you bring up there, and one has to do with the social distancing question that you bring up, and what did that really mean as far as having people that were social distancing, that were at home and still contracted the disease. And there's a lot that we're going to figure out about this. And one thing that we do know is that this virus is different than a lot of viruses. It's much more contagious and it's much more virulent than most of the viruses that we deal with. And so the study actually talked about the fact that these patients or these individuals were not leaving their home on a daily basis. So we're going to have to sort of dig into this data and figure out, were they leaving occasionally? Were they heading out? Were they continuing to have some social interaction and some exposure in their lives, and it just wasn't on a daily basis? We're gonna have to figure that out. We're gonna have to dig down into it, because I think each and every one of us are concerned about that. I look at my own situation. I'm a father, I'm an individual, I'm a citizen, I'm an ER physician, and I'm a telemedicine guy. And so each of those brings to me a different exposure and a different perspective as I deal with how do I keep myself safe, and how do I keep my kids safe, how do I keep my neighbors safe, and the citizens in my community and across the nation that I deal with as patients. And we just don't know yet, and that's the truth. I wish I had a better answer there, but we're going to continue to figure this out. This idea of social distancing really is new.
So so pretty much as you just listened, according to you know, the news is saying 66% of New York hospitalization are people staying at home. And keep in mind, you see the number 6 again. You know, just like Esau wants you to remain 6 feet from one another. And so the first thing that came to my mind is that he's trying to cause division at home, and this is another mechanism to cause division at home. Because at one point, people felt more comfortable being around people who's doing self-quarantine and that don't leave the home. And if it's happening that people are still being affected even at home, so what happened to the family at the home? That what's going to end up happening is it's going to be a lot of discrepancies, a lot of fighting going on in the home, a lot of arguments, and a lot of people is going to be trouble. So this is Matthew 24:9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And that's first going to begin with the men of the Lord that's pushing the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We're going to be delivered up. We're going to be detained. And some of us is going to have to lose our life for the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and go out as martyrs. Now verse 10. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and they shall hate one another. And that's what began to happen right now. You know, people are being offended with one another. If you sneeze or if you cough, people will give you that corner eye, like they want to kill you. Or you just pulled out a gun. You put a gun to their head or something. Or if you violate their spacing, they feel like you threatening, you putting a threat on their life. Like there's a lot of arguments in stores just over people not wearing a mask, people not exercising social distance, and you have a lot of discrepancies breaking out. Verse 10, and it says, and shall betray one another, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many, it says, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So that a lot of people are going to betray their own family members. Because the next thing is they're going to be pretty much detaining people and removing them out of their home if believed that you are infected.
Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children, and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner, whatever that means. Now, that's not something that under normal circumstances officials casually drop during briefings. It's the kind of statement that might trigger violence. People don't respond well when you threaten to take their kids.
Yeah, he mentioned that transmission had been taken off the streets and have been moved inside family homes. So now everybody's looking at each other as we can't trust one another. So that's also a form of divide and conquer, because who's going to be the ones making these calls? Is people in your home. The ones that's in your home, your family members, your aunt, your uncles, your nieces, your nephew. And they're going to make these calls thinking they're doing the right thing by protecting themselves and whatever young or babies or kids they have in the house. So they're going to be the one making these calls. And when they make these calls, and if you are suspected to have the virus, they will remove you out of your home. This is Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life.
Doctor, I want to ask you about another study, a different study entirely that's coming out of China that found that the COVID-19 virus could be found in the semen of infected men. Does that mean that this might be a sexually transmitted disease as well?
Yes. I'm glad you asked me that question, because that's been of significant interest. Because let me start by saying, immunologically, there are privileged sites in the body that are not readily attacked by the immune system. One of those areas is the inner portion of the eyeball, the thyroid gland, the ovary, and of course the testicle. These are called immunologic privileged sites. So it would stand to reason that the virus could reside there without being destroyed by the immune system necessarily for some period of time. That being said, it's possible that sexual intercourse may actually result in transmission of the virus. And I'm trying to get data on the patient's age and how long they have had the disease. Does this virus stay in the semen for a prolonged period of time, say a week, 2 weeks, 2 months? We simply don't know. The Chinese did the study on 38 patients, and only 7 of them were noted to have the virus in the semen. But 7 out of 38 is a fairly large number.
This is Psalms 52:2. Thy tongue deviseth mischief, like a sharp razor working deceitfully. Because Esau has a motive behind everything he does. He always have alternative motives. It says, verse 3, thou lovest evil more than good, and lying rather than to speak righteousness. And that's what he does. He likes to lie. Because all Esau really want to do is bring forth this microchip and this new world agenda. But for him to do that, he has to divide and to conquer. Verse 4, thou lovest all devouring words, O thou deceitful tongue. The Most High shall likewise destroy thee forever. He shall take thee away and pluck thee out of thy dwelling place and root thee out of the land of the living. So that's what's going to happen with you so-called white people. The Most High is going to bring them down, beginning with the elites, and reestablish the nation of Israel back into power. So with that, I'm going to close until next time. All praises and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakak Wadash.